Some of you have heard of Mark Twain. You've read the humorous stories that he's written, but he has a quote that's very, very impactful. He said the two most important days in a person's life is number one, the day they were born. That's pretty self-evident. Number two, the day they find out why. The day they find their purpose. So today, I want to talk to us about our purpose. You know, I'm a person of faith, and so I believe that I'm created. I don't think anybody here would say that they created themselves. So I think the number one thing to finding your purpose is to connect with your Creator, because surely your Creator created you for a purpose. So we'll write that down. Connect with your Creator. That's number one. And then, because we are created in the image of God, each and every one of us, Genesis 1:27 says that God created us in his image. And so that means we have potential. So everyone wants to start with potential, and they want to go straight to accomplishment or achievement. We'll write that down here. Accomplishment or achievement. And they want to make this path straight and easy. It just doesn't work that way. I tell you, you have to add a couple steps, and that's where it all ends or starts, however you want to look at it. If you don't make the steps, that's where it ends. If you do make the steps, that's where it starts. The first step is we have to put forth an effort. E is for effort. The next step is when we put forth an effort, we're going to get a result. All right, so if we put forth an effort and we get a good result, we have accomplishment and achievement. And then it begins to cause us to believe. And when we believe, we realize we have potential, and we can start to circle around again. So I want to go through three phases of a person's life: finding your purpose, and this is just some thoughts. There's probably more phases than that, but I want to start with number one as being dependent. You know, you're born as a child and you're totally dependent on your parents or your caregiver, and if you're hungry, they feed you and clothe you and keep you warm and take care of you, and you're completely dependent. And so as children grow, they began to step out of that dependent stage and they began to be independent. So we're trying to get people from dependent to independent. As you go through that stage, there's several roadblocks in there, and we're going to identify some of them. I would say one of the roadblocks is ignorance. We can put ignorance over here. And the ignorance is just simply a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge. And so what's the antidote for ignorance? I'm going to not write these all out because it would get too big and too long. Maybe I'll make this a capital I. The antidote is to study and learn. Learn how to learn. That's going to really help you all the way through life if you can learn how to learn. Another one is having an ego. Ego is the lowest level of understanding. It's saying, I made an effort, but I didn't get a good result because it's not my fault, it's their fault. My teacher didn't teach me properly. My boss didn't tell me what I needed to know. And so ego, the antidote for that is understanding. And you just don't learn with an ego because you already have the answer. It's somebody else's fault. Another one is that really stands on our way to get from dependency to independency is a lack of motivation. A lot of people have a lack of motivation. I had a lack of motivation when I was a child. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do the hard stuff. And so what is it going to take for you if you have a lack of motivation to actually find your purpose in life? It's going to take a conviction. It's going to take a new understanding. It's going to take a vision. I'll just write down one word. I'll write down a new understanding. You have to understand that if I don't take the next step, I'll never get anywhere besides where I'm at right now. So we have to have another understanding. And I can make these notes available if somebody wants them later. So as you're coming around this circle as a child and you learn how to feed yourself and clothe yourself and dress yourself and go to school and learn, and it's that stage in the game that everybody's cheering you on. Oh, Susie, so glad that you learned how to walk. Come on, come to daddy. Just one more step. And, Susie falls and it's okay. We'll get you back up. And they pop back up and they keep trying. And so the first stage is they put forth an effort, they get a result, and that brings an accomplishment or achievement. They begin to believe more. I have more potential. They try more things. They learn how to run. They learn how to jump. They learn how to sing. And so that first merry-go-round should be an easy one if you have good parents, good caregivers, and they're taking care of you. Now, not everyone has that fortunate of a lifestyle. So then you get some other obstacles. You get a mindset. When you haven't had encouragement, proper training, good nutrition, you can get a mindset problem that I can't do this. You can get a spirit or a culture of poverty. So spirit or culture of poverty. And they become obstacles. They are real obstacles, especially in some people's lives, people who are born in the slums, people who are born in the way back in the bush, and they don't have access to schooling. And the parents are doing the very best they can, but they're very poor. They have nothing to give. And consequently, the child receives nothing, and he has nothing to give. And how do you find your purpose in life? Well, there's a way through that. It's not going to be as good as someone who's born with all the advantages. But if we connect with our Creator, we're going to find a way through that. And also, you could say the CC is connecting with Christ. And how do we do that? Well, by prayer. There's people who have actually not believed in God, and they become desperate, and they said, if there is a God, please reveal yourself to me and help me to understand how I can move forward in life. And God's just that good. He loves us that much that if we put forth that amount of faith, he will connect with us and begin to lead us. So prayer, and then Bible, because that's God's word. You can read your Bible, and also the leading of the Holy Spirit. So we've got several advantages there that someone who refuses to acknowledge their Creator, refuses to connect with their Creator, they're going to have a harder time finding their purpose. So then we move into the second stage where people are learning to be independent. And they have their challenges too. You can put forth an effort to get a result, but it might be dishonest. It might be deceptive. And so the antidote for that is to be honest. I made the mistake. I didn't know what I was talking about. Please teach me. But whereas the other person in deception, they just try to fake it until they make it. And they'll make it all right, but they might not make it where they want to go. Another one is just being selfish. So a selfish person needs to learn to add value. That's the antidote. They need to find out that being selfish does not make me happy. Adding value to other people is what makes me happy. Another thing that is a real detriment is our comfort zone. And the thing that gets us out of our comfort zone is we have to live our life with conviction. All right, what does a conviction mean? It means intention. You have to live it with purpose. Okay, why are you going to do that? Well, a lot of times a crisis in your life will bring a clarity, and it'll help you to see that, you know what, if I keep on going down this path, I'm going to keep on getting the same results. If I keep allowing these bad habits, I'm not going to get anywhere. So we call that the CCC. Crisis brings clarity, and clarity brings conviction. And then the last one in that stage, and this is a real big one, is jealousy. When people start to see that you're getting a lot of good results, you're having a lot of accomplishments, they begin to be jealous, and it can be very difficult. They can put a lot of hindrances in your path. And how do you overcome those? Well, put your faith in God, ask Him how to overcome this jealousy, recognize that it is jealousy, and guess what? The antidote for that is compassion, because those people are jealous of something that you have. And so we need to learn how to show compassion. The only way you can show compassion to someone who is being evil to you is if God gives it to you. And so you'll have to ask Him. You'll have to say, God, I have some anger in my heart. I have some bitterness. Will you please take that out? And as we recognize those things, and really it's pretty hard for us to take it out ourselves, but God will do that. He'll take out that anger and that bitterness and toward the person who's not treating us right, and He will give us a compassion. And so then we have moved from the dependent state to the independent state. But then you find out that no matter how hard you try, no matter how many efforts you make, there's sometimes you just don't get a good result. And you start to understand, you know what, that's not my gift. And so we have to accept our gift. We have to accept that the way I'm created, this is my gift, but that's not my gift. And so if I'm going to succeed, then we have to become interdependent. And that means that we need to find a team or a tribe to work with so that my gift helps them and their gift helps me. And so as we work our way into that interdependent state in finding our purpose, there's more challenges. Life is full of challenges, but guess what? Supposing you went to a football game and the player's running down the field, they hand him the ball and everybody just steps aside and he runs through to a touchdown. Wouldn't that be boring? I mean, why would you stay and watch something like that? But then supposing this man has tremendous obstacles. The opposing team is very strong. He's got an injury that's causing him pain, and he succeeds. He makes a touchdown against great odds. Boy, we cheer him on. Yes. All right, go for it. And so it's very exciting. It's exciting to watch somebody, and sometimes they make it look easy, but we don't realize the hours and hours and hours of practice that they've put into that, and learning and studying the strengths of their opponent, the weaknesses of their opponent, how to play the game. They find out what their strengths and weaknesses are. They find out what works for them. And that's what you need to find out. what works for me may not exactly work for you. But as a team, we began to blend these things together. We began to be interdependent. And so in those, sometimes your team members will ask you to do something and you're like, really? You want me to do that? Yeah, you can do that. We've noticed that you have that gift. Wow, well, okay. But then you go home and you start to say, what have I agreed to? I don't know how to do that. And you hear this knock. Who's there? It's a knocking in your head. Who's there? It's doubt and fear. They say, we're just here to see how you're doing. Oh, I'm doing good. It's just me and confidence. We don't see confidence. Well, I think maybe he went to the restroom. Well, I don't think you need to do this. That's what your doubt and fear begins to say. And you have to overcome that. If you're going to make a progress, if you're going to make a good result, and the antidote to doubt and fear is faith. You have to have faith in your Creator and faith in your team that they're going to help you. And then, guess what? Just before you are scheduled to do whatever it is that they ask you to do, you get sick. That's a real obstacle. A lot of people deal with sickness. And it could be in 4 different areas: spiritually, physically, emotionally, or financially. SPEF, I call it. One of those areas is weak. And the antidote for that is don't give in to the sickness, begin to look for a healing. So as you can see, everything on this side is part of the spirit of light. Everything on this side is the spirit of darkness. Light and truth are the same. Another thing that happens is we get stuck. We are trying to accomplish something and it just doesn't work. We put forth an effort, we don't get a good result. We put forth an effort, we don't get a good result. We put forth an effort, we don't get a good result. And sometimes the antidote for that is the bridge, you might say. How can I bridge the gap here? Is to get a mentor, someone who's gone before, and they say, that happened to me too, and this is how I got through it. And you don't have that particular strength that I have, but you have this strength. And so when you get stuck, you get a mentor or a team member that can help you get unstuck. And then another very real problem in life is ridicule. And so when you get ridiculed, you have to find somebody to encourage you. So when you've made this circle round and round and round, and your purpose can change. My purpose has changed many times in life. Coming from a child as a dependent person, and then I became independent, and then I had a business and I became interdependent and had to work with customers and work with my employees and vendors. And there's a thing in there that's very important, and that's become a trustworthy person. If you're going to work with people, you're going to need to be trustworthy. You're going to need to be consistent. You're going to need to be honest. And what we are is what we attract. And so if I'm honest, trustworthy, and a man of conviction, and I do what I say I'm going to do, I'm going to meet those kind of people. I'm going to connect with those kind of people. And so as you make this circle again and again and again, if you have an accomplishment or an achievement, you should have an honest celebration. Because you have made an achievement. You have worked hard. Now, people who don't recognize their creator, they tend to become haughty and condescending. Well, you could have done that if you'd have just studied a little harder, if you'd have just tried a little harder. I mean, I've got it here. I can do that because, I just work a little harder than the average person. I'm just a little more talented. And it bleeds through. It really does. And then when you get over here to where you believe that you have more potential, you can either choose to praise your creator or you can choose to lift yourself up in pride. And we know that a proud person is a very difficult person to be around. So as you go through this life, though, there are some basic things, basic ways of finding your purpose. When I found my purpose, I was in Kenya and I was sighing to the Lord. I said, how am I going to stay safe here? I was there by myself, first time ever. God said, add value. And it just opened up in my mind. If I add value, I'll become valuable. If I become valuable, they'll take care of me. That was my awareness moment. And so even though your purpose can change, as we've discussed in all the different aspects of life, you can have a basic purpose of adding value to humanity. And another thing that's for me personally now is a blending of cultures. Anything that I can do to help blend the cultures, blend the tribes. When David Douglas called and said, will you speak on finding your purpose? I ran it through those two things. Will it add value to them? And will it encourage a blending of cultures? And I got 2 yeses. And so I said, yes, I'll do that. I'll try that. Now, I had some doubt and fear, a lot of it. I had to do some studying. But today, I hope that this has been of value to you, and I hope you will find your purpose. May God bless you.